It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
This next one is from Enigami. That must not be his name.
It's like Enigma.
It's like Enigma.
Okay.
But
Let's
the
just
M
go
and
with
the, but there's more. But
modified Enigma.
Modified Enigma. Any suggestions for types of funds to invest Roth IRA into? ETFs, I presume. Now, before I answer this question, I just want to clarify something. Because I feel like I hear this all the time, and people don't realize this. When you say like ETF, an exchange-traded fund, that is not, I'm going to say that's not an investment. That's a vehicle. It's a type of investment. It's not like something that you invest into. It just gives you access to types of investments. You might be surprised to know that there are stock ETFs that invest in stocks, and there are bond ETFs that invest in bonds. Well, those are two very different investment vehicles, even though they have the same type of account structure. Mutual funds are the same way. So when you think about what you want to invest in, which types of accounts, you're kind of focusing on asset location. Don't get confused and think that like, oh, an ETF just means it's a stock thing, because that's not always the case. So with that context, what are some things that I should think about investing in a Roth IRA? And does it matter where I'm at on my wealth building journey, how I think about that?
Bo talks about this all the time, and I give him credit for talking about the part of the behavior of saving and then investing is more important than where you're investing it. And I think people overcomplicate this, especially in the beginning. My answer here, look, we love ETFs. We use ETFs, but that's not actually when I'm doing dollar cost averaging. I use that I don't use that consistently because there's an easier solution when you're trying to do automatic for the people. I mean, when you're trying to create a behavior, your automatic millionaire status by investing every month, market goes up, you're buying at the end of the month. Market's getting devastated, you're buying at the end of the month. Some scary news comes out, you're still buying. The easiest way to do that I have found is typically through mutual funds because they just don't. Because now look, I know some custodians will let you dollar cost average into ETFs automatically and it will be free, but not all of them. That's not the default, whereas you can typically do mutual funds much easier. So I actually like index target retirement funds. I give this answer all the time because I like it so much, and the fact that you set it and forget it. How much can I save? When do I need it? They'll do the rest. And guys, you're getting way too caught up on, for my super younger people saying, but there's bonds in there. Guys, go look at a 2065 fund. You'll see it's very aggressive. I mean, it is very aggressive. So, but guess what? When we reach the year 2055, it will not be so aggressive. So it's one of those things, because what we're trying to do is focus on the behavior of building wealth and automatic for the people, meaning you're investing every month. You're creating that automatic habit that will be saving. I find that I like index target retirement funds to just make it easy, because it's going to create where you focus on the habit of saving and investing more so than how do I maximize this thing, because that's not the most important thing in the beginning.
Now, perhaps you're not at the beginning anymore. Perhaps you've been saving for a while and you've built up to that critical mass army of dollar bills where you've got $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, and you don't just want to focus on asset allocation, meaning how you spread out your assets, but asset location, what types of accounts you hold, what types of assets in, because we know that tax-free Roth accounts behave differently than after-tax brokerage accounts, and they behave differently than 401ks or tax-deferred accounts. So if your question is specifically about asset location at the time in your journey when it makes sense to begin asking those questions, in your Roth, we really like growth assets. We like things that have a lot of potential to grow over the long term because we want to maximize that tax-free growth. I don't want the stuff that's going to move like a turtle. I want the stuff that's going to move like a hare. However, one caveat to make sure you stay aware of is you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to start, doing your penny stocks and that kind of stuff, because in a Roth, you don't get to take losses, and it's really hard to get that money back in there. They cap how much you can contribute every single year without doing a taxable conversion. So once you lose that money, and if it's gone, it's really hard to replenish it. So you want good growth assets, but not so aggressive there's a large probability of risk inside of that thing.